Hello and welcome back to Lombardi Sweep, a Packers podcast brought to you by Flurry Sports. And we got a full cast tonight. Luke Reimer, Jana Wilson, Trevor Land. The whole gang is back together. Was it just me and Trevor last week?
I hopped on for the last half.
It was a starter.
Okay, right.
We gave the reserves a rest last week.
That's right. Jana was grading kindergartners' essays or something, is what I heard.
Yeah, remember because I said on behalf of all Lions fans, we don't accept you guys.
Oh yeah, that is true.
Yeah,
that is true. Wrong, but true.
Mm-mm.
I was submitting all my grades for the first semester.
Did anybody fail?
No, actually, the lowest score I think was like an 83. The lowest average was an 83. So I think I'm doing pretty good. I don't know if I could say the same about the next semester coming up. I mean, the next grade period coming up. But yeah, I was actually pretty proud. Although I have
gotta lay down the law.
I was because of all those zeros, though.
It was because of all those combines you put him through in the summer, Janet.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
that is true. The recruitment process going strong. If you have a bunch of 5 stars coming in, of course nobody's going to fail.
You like
and when they talk back, it's fine to hit a kid every once in a while. I heard in Texas, so I think just laying it down, like
they actually do the Oklahoma drill to solve.
Yeah.
And I'm actually testing this week. I'm actually testing, but I have gotten some zeros on the test. So it's
Janet.
The Oklahoma drill got me.
You're like the Alabama football of grade school classes.
Alabama just lost, so I don't know if that's a very good thing to compare to.
Yeah, maybe not.
There's like a storm coming in. There's just an FYI, my internet starts slowing down. There's a storm coming in. It's starting to rain outside. So if y'all see me building a canoe or strapping the dogs to some life vests, some life floaties, we're about to
Texas just not know how to handle weather or what?
No, we don't. Nothing at all. There's been an accident almost every morning just because of a little drizzle.
I don't get it. And
sounds like Oktoberfest.
When it was does. When it was raining for that Chargers game in California, I've never seen people lose their mind at lightning. Like they were explaining, like, no, you guys don't get it. The lightning's like striking down, then there's like thunder. It's like lighting up, and people were doing videos and shit. Like it's wild. I don't understand.
Yeah, Texas is the same way. We don't know how to react. I'm a storm watcher. I like to sit outside on my porch. When they say seek safety, I'll be standing outside on my porch.
Speaking living on the edge.
You're like the dad that cuts his lawn during a tornado. Haven't you guys ever seen that picture?
Yes, we have. But we are 3 minutes in. So speaking of wild, how about that Packers game?
How about them Packers, eh? They were pretty good. Down there.
That was more Canadian. That was more Canadian. That's a no.
I lived in Superior for 7 years. That's how they talk there. Yeah, we played like a 7 out of 10, I would say. I don't know.
I would like to say you did. I listened back to last podcast. You did say multiple times about this game will be decided by about a field goal. I have a feeling it's going to come down to one big kick from Crosby. You were right. We just did not know how many tries it would take. Shout out to the person whose tweet I saw that said, hey, never give Crosby 4 attempts at a field goal. Never do it.
Mm-hmm. That is correct. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like in your guys' mind, for me, it was never a doubt when Crosby went back out there. It just felt like the time. It felt right. And it's weird. Tell me if you guys have seen something different. I haven't seen anybody like criticize Crosby, which is good, but I don't think I've even seen that.
No.
That's
build up that legacy.
Change.
And it was consistent too. Like he wasn't going right. He was just hooking it left, which maybe it was a new cadence because you told him to use a new cadence last week. It's possible.
Maybe that last one was almost blocked again. Let's communicate on the right side of the protection there, because Tunyon can't block two guys, and he actually didn't even try to block one, which is even better. So like, let's.
That's two straight games where the kicks, either been kind of blocked or almost blocked or whatever.
Three.
Seems like three. Seems like the perfect time to run some fake field goals.
That's true. That's true. And Tunyon is right there. Like, he's already avoiding every single rusher that comes. So you could just like slip right through him. Maybe. I know that Bengals guy did come over, so I would have kind of stopped it. I watched the game back right before we went on for the fantasy football show. But yeah, let's talk about the game a little bit. I have random notes here that I just wrote down. Interrupt me when you have something to say about them. First drive, I said it's very apparent when Kenny Clark comes off the field.
Yep.
Bengals picked up a 4th down or 3rd down early in the game, and he was tired, rightfully so. Came off the field, and then Packers couldn't stop them at all. But even still, like later in the game, he had like that one good first drive until he came off the field, and then Kenny Clark was pretty non-existent the entire game. In my opinion, it was his worst game this year. And that's not me saying he's bad. He just didn't make any impact on the game. Any thoughts on Kenny Clark?
Yes, I agree. It was 100% his worst game of the year. Just to bounce off of that, when he comes off the field, just imagine what's going to happen when TJ Slayton knows how to breathe.
Oh, man. Could be Reggie White. Like
Right.
I said, never know. Packers are still, when trying to defend the Bengals, and I think it's going to be a little bit difficult this week as well. We still don't know how to defend running backs out of the backfield. We have no clue. Samaje Perine destroyed us in the receiving game, which is bad news because Samaje Perine's not the best receiver. So, I mean, this week we got Damian Williams, definitely a good receiver. I think Herbert could catch a couple passes. He's definitely electric. I hope Jalen Smith's addition helps this, but I think this is a scary thing because last year we couldn't defend running backs either. It's just a nightmare. When you think of the best NFC teams, they all have really good receiving running backs, so I think it's not going to be a good thing. Let's talk about A.J. Dillon, receiving back. What I wrote down, he made a couple really nice plays on the ball. Like, he tracked the ball extremely well. It was really weird to see. However, he is so slow.
Yep.
It's unbelievable. He has zero explosion, which is wild. And whenever he gets hit, his legs completely stop moving. And I don't know why. Like, he like jumps up in the air and he stops moving. And it's like elementary school football coaches are like, chop your feet, like make sure your feet don't stop. It's the simplest thing. And if A.J. Dillon wants to pride himself on having legs like tree trunks, he should try to use them because he doesn't right now. Trevor, do you want to defend him? I know you're a big A.J. Dillon guy.
I already did. Look, I mean, he's got legs like tree trunks. When was the last time we saw a tree trunk move? I'll just ask you that one. You can't have it both ways. But yeah, I mean, the lack of explosion does raise some issues. It was nice seeing him get involved in the pass game, though, at the very least, because now if A.J. Dillon is in, you're not going to go, okay, that's one guy I don't have to be on. So that's nice in that.
Mm-hmm.
But it was, for the stats he put up, I think it's fair to be a little disappointed. Not necessarily in the performance, but just, like you said, the legs stopped moving. He should have easily gotten that end zone. There is no way he should have been labeled on that pass catch. So some things that are a little worried, but they'll be swept another while.
Agreed. Next note, special teams are still a massive issue. Not just like kicking, not just blocking on field goals. We gave a couple really long returns, and I was just thinking about why, and It's not coaching because they were all in the right spots. Like, I just think the Packers don't invest in their special teams at all, ever. And I should have brought this up. I was looking at who was on the kickoff team and all of that, but the Packers don't pay special teams people. If you remember, like one of the final cuts, I'm like, oh, we're cutting really good special teams people. We don't pay special teams people. We don't draft special teams people. We draft backups at positions because we have no depth. And when you think of college players, only the best make it to the NFL. We're drafting people who never played special teams before. Like, they always have been the best of the best, and they had breaks during special teams, essentially. So now we're asking them to play special teams for the first time in their entire career. And, oh, weird, they suck. And this is one of the big problems where it's like the Packers pay a couple veterans, and then they draft all the lower half guys on the roster. And that's why the special team sucks year after year after year after year. And it's annoying. Do you guys have any thoughts on that while I bring up who was on the kickoff team?
I mean, it's bad. The special teams, like you said, is bad. It seems like there's not, like you said, not great players there. I mean, I brought it up before. I'll bring it up again. But when's the last time that we've had a return on kick or punt, over 30 yards? And that's just an added reason why what Aaron Rodgers is doing with this team for the last 10 years has been incredible, because he's starting at the 25 or less almost every single time, the other team scores. So, it's something obviously that needs to be fixed. Will it be fixed? Probably not, because it hasn't been fixed since Randall Cobb returned kick for a touchdown against the Saints. So I don't know where you go from that, but you're right. There's definitely something going on there.
So this is our kickoff team, not kick return, kickoff. It's Malik Taylor, Isaiah McDuffie, aka Trevor Land, Kylan Hill, Oren Burks, Tyler Davis. Trevor, tell us who Tyler Davis is. Do you know? Oh, he took his headphones off. Does anybody know who Tyler Davis is? And you don't, because he's played 2 games for the Packers. They just picked him up. He was a backup tight end who played special teams for the Jaguars. And he recorded his first tackle in his entire career this week. So, like, he's not a good special teams guy. The Packers picked up a special teams guy who's not that good, and he's wasting a roster spot as a 4th string tight end.
This dude doesn't sound like he should be in the NFL.
Correct. The other kickoff guy is Shamar Jean-Charles, Ty Summers, Henry Black, who's not great, obviously Mason Crosby, Isaac Yiadom, and then Equinemius St. Brown.
Yikes.
And as much as I've been harassing Equinemius St. Brown because he's not a good wide receiver and he shouldn't be on the active roster, like, I was watching him specifically, he may be the best special teams guy. And that's why the Packers keep activating him, which is, I don't know how to take that, I guess. Like, it's a good thing, I guess, that he can play special teams, but I wish he could do more than that.
I've always wondered why you put receivers on kickoff team rather than corners.
I agree. And I guess the thought is, well, first off, the Packers don't have corners to sacrifice.
Right, I guess, yeah.
But you would think they'd be better at taking angles and attacking and tackling and doing all of that. And to your point, Henry Black's a D-back, obviously Shamar. That's it. We have 2 wide receivers. We have a running back. And Mason Crosby's the best tackler on the whole damn field. Oh, Adam's a corner. But he's not any good. I don't know. But, like, you see all the best special teams units around the league. Obviously, the Patriots are the model of success. They're the elite. And they have guys that have been on the team for 10 years who have done nothing but special teams. Like, that's how you win. It's a third of the game. It's a big deal. And the Packers, like, I brought up the stats earlier today. I don't have them written down, but the Packers rank near the bottom, obviously, in opponent's average starting field position. I think it's like around the 28-yard line or so, just off of kickoffs. And that's an easy way to lose games, especially when the defense isn't great. Yeah, it's annoying. Anyway, anything else? Oh, I have Rashawn Gary didn't show up.
Nope.
He did nothing. He had one pressure the entire game. That long touchdown. This is a good thing to talk about. So that long, massive touchdown that Savage gave up or whatever down the right sideline.
Not Kevin King.
It was a weird. Not Kevin King. Kevin King almost made the tackle somehow.
Mm-hmm.
I got shunned. I'm no longer a Packer fan because I thought it was Kevin King.
That's fine. Everybody did, which fair
Not
enough.
me.
That's fine.
Not me.
Not me. But what I think happened, I watched the play a few times. So for some reason, Savage was playing man on Jamar Chase on the defensive right side. I think Adrian Amos blew this. So Amos came down and tried to jump. I think it was the tight end in the middle of the field. And this is what I talked about earlier in the year with the Joe Barry defense, where they have the freedom to make plays and make their own decisions and do stuff. So he jumped that route. And then once he kept running the route, he was kind of stuck in no man's land, and then there was no help on the back end. So I think Adrian Amos actually blew this play. I think Savage thought he would have had over top help with it, which he should have. And I guess Amos made up for it because he made an interception later in the game. But I think that's what happened on that play.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But, I mean, if you want to blame Kevin King, go ahead. That's fine, too. What's one more play? It's fine. He has almost a perfect passer rating given up this year. Like when targeting him, I think he gives up a 153 passer rating, which is...
Doesn't sound like 158.
He gave up 158 in the first week. It's insane. It's insane. So in overtime, the one...
Can I backtrack a little bit?
Yeah.
I think we need to talk about Eric Stokes a little bit. We talked about when he was drafted and throughout the whole season that he relies on his speed too much. And there's a play that I'm sure everybody's going to remember when Chase had him and he used that speed and broke it up. Obviously, it's not ideal, but I mean, for him to break that out, and that was a little underthrown fair, if we're being fair, but I mean, that's got to give you some hope, not for him being a cornerback one, but I mean, compared to Kevin King, there is no doubt anymore in my mind. Like, there's no doubt. Say what you will about getting burned, but he had to make a very good play to get back in that and break it up.
I think he's fast, and I think he's better than Kevin King, but he loses the line of scrimmage every single play. And again, he came into the draft, and Gutekunst and everybody touted him as this, and Joe Barry touted him as this press corner, and they touted him as a press corner in college. He cannot win in press ever. He whiffs. He's weak. Like we talked about this during the draft. Like, he shouldn't press. He should not press. And by the way, if he didn't press, he wouldn't get burnt and wouldn't have to use the speed every time either.
I was going to say that too. Physically, he doesn't look, that physical to be able to press and jam at the line of scrimmage. He also doesn't look physical when making tackles. I know a lot of corners don't look physical making tackles, but Eric Stokes, not to rip on him or anything, but he misses a lot of tackles.
Who was he? The guy who gave up on that tackle? I know this is out of the whole game. Samaje Perine, I think, bounced it outside to the left when they were going towards the left of the screen. Like, I think it was probably second or third quarter. And it was either him or King that it looked like they didn't even try to make a tackle.
I don't know.
It was one play, but if any of you guys rewatch the game, look out for that because it was maybe the worst thing I've seen.
I'll say Stokes was on that side most of the game, but also Kevin King got hurt super early and played the rest of the game, so he could have been hurt and, mentally checked out of that play too. I have no idea. Red zone play calling was still trash. They're horrendous in the red zone. What happened
to throwing the ball to Devontae Adams every single time we're in the red zone? I missed that.
Weird, right?
Yeah.
Like the one guy who can create separation no matter how many people are on him. That'd be nice in the red zone. Skipping ahead, both Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams both said today, like, we need to be more aggressive in the red zone. We need to change shit up. And it's like they're speaking to a group of people, but their words are directed at one person.
Mm-hmm.
That's Matt LaFleur. Figure it out, because Rodgers is going to completely check out of every play that you call pretty soon.
Maybe in the when we're in a position to score, we should give the ball to our two best players on the team.
Weird. That's an interesting concept.
I think that goes to not only the red zone, but I think we need to talk about, at least I'm going to talk about it, I don't care. Before Crosby's last miss, when we got the interception by Campbell, that was maybe the most pathetic play calling I've ever seen.
Mhm.
Like, they ran it, and then kicked a field goal on third. You have the most talented quarterback of all time, the best receiver in the league, and you're going to go conservative over a kicker who, as much as I love Crosby, has missed multiple times. It was just, I mean, he should have lost them the game there. I mean, it was terrifyingly bad.
It doesn't matter that Mason Crosby missed kicks at that point. To your point, like I wrote this down. Yeah, we ran the ball 2 times, lost yards, and then kicked it on third down. It was third and like 15 or 16. You have the MVP in the league. You have the best quarterback in the league, and you're putting zero trust in him, is all that is. Like, it was third and 16, especially if your kicker's struggling. Let's try to get up a couple yards. Like, the Bengals are going to play soft and let you gain yards for sure. But put your trust in the MVP. Even like before the running plays, it should have been passing plays. It should have been play action. Should have been stuff like that. But you need to put trust in Aaron Rodgers, especially in the 3rd and 16. He's not going to throw a pick. He's going to make the right decision. At worst, he's going to throw the football away. At best, he's going to find Randall Cobb for a big conversion and stuff like that. Like, that's the kind of shit that keeps happening time after time after time. We saw it in the NFC Championship. We keep seeing it. We keep playing for a field goal. And like LaFleur talking about, oh, I wanted to check with Mo if Crosby can, kick the field goal. I wanted to go for it. Bullshit, you wanted to go for it at any point. You've been playing for a field goal since the 4th quarter started. That's the only thing he was playing for.
Just to throw a wrench in your bad play calling take here. How about that play call to Mercedes Lewis's screen on 3rd and long? Mercedes Lewis looked damn good there, huh?
Man, he's a tank. Like, get him the ball.
That may have been the first time I've ever yelled out "big dog" at a high audible level, because I was half surprised, but also that worked so well. Like, nobody's expecting that.
It was incredible.
All.
He's one of the best players on the entire team, for sure. Like, he's the best blocking tight end in the NFL. And then he's a capable receiver. He's a massive dude. He can do this shit. He should be even more involved than he is. Not saying he needs to be even like a 40 catch guy, but I think he should be like a 20, 25 catch guy this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was, I do have this written down. Okay, so Trevor, what you were talking about when we kicked on 3rd down, that 2nd down when we ran it, the Bengals came down. The Bengals blitzed 7 people, and they showed it. They showed a zero coverage. They had nobody over the top. They were pressing Davante Adams on the left sideline. So they were pressing Davante with nobody over top. Why would we run the football there? It makes no sense. Why would first off, LaFleur shouldn't have called it. Second off, Rodgers should have checked out of that.
Yeah.
Like, you need to pass that football. That's an automatic pass. Like, that's an easy check.
It's an automatic pass when Davante Adams is 1-on-1.
Every time, especially in the red zone.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but do you think Aaron Rodgers is one of the smartest people in the league, and that's not even questionable? Do you think Aaron Rodgers knew what he was doing? Like, I'm not trying to play even conspiracy theorist here, but I mean, I gotta believe Aaron Rodgers is making that check 10 times out of 10.
He's been deferring. He does this every year. He's been deferring to LaFleur a ton, and obviously they won, so he's going to continue to do stuff like that. Once the red zone stuff stops work or continues to not work a couple more weeks in a row, if that continues to happen, Rodgers will start making his calls. But he is, as much as Greg Jennings or Florio or people like that, or Jermichael Finley want to say, Rodgers is a team guy, a super good teammate, and he's not going to take that power away from LaFleur. He's going to call the play. He's going to do shit like that. So he's going to try not to cause any risks, especially week 5. But I would hope pretty soon Rodgers tells LaFleur that he can't hear him in his helmet or something. And he just checks it. Only last note I have on the game is on that, it must have been right before that Cobb third down, Runyon sacked Rodgers.
Yep.
Like he's the one who hit Rodgers and sacked him. Like, this is fun. Oh, by the way, I'll say this. Credit where it's due. This is Royce Newman's best football game of the entire year. He did not play great, but he played pretty good.
He did not block Mercedes Lewis on the screen.
He was close. he was headhunting for him. He was coming for him. Oh, man. He is bad at football, but he was not the problem this week. I'll say that much. And Lucas Patrick's a good center. Weird. Maybe we could have done that and not wasted a draft pick. Anyway, going forward to this week.
Wait, I got one more thing in this game.
Yeah, go ahead.
Nobody's talking about that Aaron Jones stiff arm on his long 50-yard run. That thing was nuts. You know, that's almost as good as when Derrick Henry threw Josh Norman to the ground. Like,
yeah.
Good Morning Football did a little thing on it. Good Morning Football is a great show, but they did a little thing on it. And I'm just saying that was probably the best play maybe of the year. That stiff arm alone. That was awesome.
And then what did we follow it up with? The most conservative ass play calling when we could have gone for the jugular.
It's weird. Like once we get to the red zone, I mean, we completely check out. Like, let's forget anything that happened. Let's go to the script. And the script does not work.
I think he has Crosby on his fantasy team.
Maybe. I don't know. But obviously LaFleur was talked about or asked about it today, asked about his decision, stuff like that, to which LaFleur replied, stats are for losers. And I don't disagree with him. Like, it's the kind of thing that I always call people box score analysts, and it's for that reason. Like, people who look at numbers and just numbers. Like, there's no context with it, so I think stats are for losers. However, so is not scoring touchdowns. And the Packers are... stats on FlurrySports.org, by the way, Team Red Zone stats. The Packers have scored a touchdown on 55% of the red zone drives. That's 6 worst in the NFL. Last year, they were around 80%, which is ungodly amazing, but 55% is obviously terrible. And let's talk about that great Joe Barry defense that LaFleur talked about, how they got it figured out. They're doing super well. Packers are the only team in the NFL to allow a touchdown every single time their opponent gets into the red zone. 13 of 13. Opponents haven't even needed to attempt a field goal. So that's not a recipe for success when you can't score red zone touchdowns and your opponent scores them at will. It's concerning to say the least. Any thoughts on that?
My first priority is I say we ask the dog. I would have said his name, but I don't remember the name. Beside the point, it's going to get worse too, because obviously Jair is out, and it's just concerning, you know. And the other thing I thought was concerning was that Jalen Smith, I have to think when I say his name, I can't say Jalen Brown anymore. Jalen Smith wasn't playing like at all. I mean,
he wasn't active.
He wasn't active, but wouldn't you think they would have made him active? Like, he's in game shape, and at the very least, you can only put him in and say, hey, blitz here. Like, you don't have to have him in for 90% of the snaps. I think this could have been a great game where he gets some, you know, a soft warm-up instead of throwing him to the fire. And I think he could help in the red zone, too, with that speed and a guy that you feel like can follow guys.
I don't know if he's willing, but I bet he'd be better on kickoff than Malik Taylor too, personally, or Hunter Black. Henry Black. He is very bad at football. He's so bad at football, man.
Was he the
was
one that got puked out of his socks?
Yep.
That was so bad.
Yes. And he's the one who was in the Jay Sternberger training camp highlight reel over and over. Jay Sternberger burnt his ass. It's
I just saw somebody
concerning.
get puked. I didn't even know his number, and I said to my dad, I bet you $20 that's Henry Black. And that's exactly who it was. He is bad at football.
Yeah. Yes, he is. There really wasn't much with the Rodgers and Adams pressers. Like we said, they both said the exact same thing, that the offense needs to be more aggressive, especially in the red zone. Adams went further to say that we're doing the exact same things over and over and something needs to change. I hope he really is saying, give me the fucking ball. Like, that's all you got to do. It's not too hard to figure out. Do something. Do something.
He had 200 receiving yards. He could have had 300.
No kidding. He can have 300 every week.
Right.
No, who could help though? The practice window has now opened for Dominique Daphne, who can come off of IR, so he could be back this week. Hopefully that means we get rid of that former Jacksonville tight end and bring on Daphne, but that probably won't mean that. Elton Jenkins is back at practice. Josh Myers is also back at practice. Dennis Kelly's out hurt. Who cares? He sucks. Kevin King is out hurt. He might play. This is going to surprise a lot of you. But Kevin King has a shoulder injury. It's pretty wild. Didn't think that would happen to Kevin King, Mr. Durable. It's like, this is his one opportunity. Like, he's the cornerback one. Let's see what you can do. And apparently, like, they asked him, because there was that hit in the third or fourth quarter. I think it was T. Higgins went high, and we saw Kevin King wincing in pain on the ground. They asked LaFleur, like, is that when it happened? And LaFleur said, or something along the lines of, it happened a lot earlier than that. So I would assume, if we remember, Kevin King was trending on Twitter because he made a tackle the first play. Guaranteed he got hurt first play of the fucking game. It's insane, man.
I think the funny thing about that too is I remember this vividly when we were previewing the Saints game. We were talking about Kevin King, and you said what Kevin King is going to do. He's going to get burnt. He's going to make it up. He's going to make a play. Everybody's going to be happy, and he's going to get hurt. The only difference is the week, because you hit that right on the head just week 5.
After he came back from injury, though.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah. Oh, Kevin. Okay. Anything else to talk about before we talk about... Oh, sorry. We activated Equinemius St. Brown again today. We keep switching him between practice squad to active roster just so he can get more money, maybe. I don't know. Maybe we should just keep him there. But we also signed Quinton Dunbar to the practice squad. This is the second Arizona Cardinals practice squad cornerback we've signed in a row. And good. Like, Brian Gutekunst knows what he's doing. Those Arizona Cardinals cornerbacks are playing good, so their practice squad guys must be even better.
Arizona, that's known for their great secondary the last 5 years.
Yeah, so good. I will say about Quentin Dunbar, I was surprised he was on the practice squad.
Right.
From what I remember about him, he was super good with Washington. He was bad with Seattle last year. But he has insane ball skills. Like, he was a former wide receiver. So if the ball's in the air, I think he's going to attack it well. I just don't think he can do much of the rest well. But I think he could be, quite honestly, I think he could thrive as like a cornerback 2 opposite of Jair when he's back. Obviously, he's not back. But he's also on the practice squad. And then I would assume, who's the other guy we got? Dunbar? Not Dunbar. This is Dunbar. Who's the other cornerback? Dunbar 2.0. Sure. The other Cardinals guy, I would assume he's activated this week because I don't think Kevin King's going to play, which would mean E. Adams starts opposite of Stokes, which means Allen Robinson's probably going to go for 100 yards, would be my guess.
Random fact, Quentin Dunbar in fantasy was a 22nd ranked defensive back in his last year in Washington in 2019. So
He's good.
He's a good player. But I kind of like it. I mean, you need cornerbacks. We talked about it. Luke mentioned it a lot last week. We need bodies at this point. Like, there's no arguing it. Kevin King is probably going to be on again, off again the whole time, like a bad relationship. So you can't count on him. And even when he does, he can't play. So Quinton Dunbar should be good. I just wonder, could he be like the new version of Brashad Breeland when he was here? I hope so. I'd take that.
Sure. Like I think he's good enough to play. I guess there's a reason he's on the practice squad. That's all I'll say. I guess I know he wasn't good with Seattle last year, but my argument would be nobody was good for Seattle on defense last year. So it's much more than a him problem. I don't know. I think it's a good signing. I think he's better than Yadam. Yadam sucks. He's no good. He should be on the team. Josh Jackson's better than him, and we trade Josh Jackson for him. But I digress. Okay, let's talk about the matchup with the Bears. Obviously, Packers are favored. They're only favored by 4.5 points at Chicago. That seems a little weird. Over under at 44.5. I feel comfortable with this game. I guess, what's your guys' early thoughts with it?
This is another game like the last, I guess, probably the whole year that I'm not going to be worried when the other team's on offense. Bengals game was a little scary. It wasn't like Ben Roethlisberger or Jimmy Garoppolo or anything. But, initial thoughts are their offenses won't stay up with ours, and this could turn ugly pretty quick.
Even that Cincinnati game, like even for as bad as the blown coverage was on that Chase touchdown, we're talking inches away from an interception or a deflection that changes the entire game. This team doesn't scare me at all. And if Kenny Clark is anywhere near average, Justin Fields doesn't stand a damn chance in this game. I think Jalen Smith will look good against the running game. I think he'll help a lot. Even without Jair, I don't see how the Bears do anything because, Zach, you and I were talking about Allen Robinson isn't right. It's either injury or he just doesn't care. Either way, I'm not scared of him like usual. And this offense is just going to rip this defense to shreds if they're smart and they're not stupid like against the Bengals, which unfortunately is a big if now.
I thought Allen Robinson looked a little bit better last week, but to your point, I do think it's effort. I think he's healthy. I don't know. It's really weird. But if you asked me or told me that he has 100, 150 yards this game, it wouldn't surprise me. I think this is a game he gets up for. Jana, what's your thoughts about the matchup against the Bears?
I've been really quiet because there's thunder going on. So if the thunder starts going on, just turn it off. Y'all are getting real blurry on me too. So I was looking
She's drinking.
Too many vodka Red Bulls.
Yeah.
Too many vodka Red Bulls.
So Shamar?
So I know everybody talks about Chicago Bears, like their defense is like it apparently, but I'm looking at who was at Wednesday's practice, and it looks like they got a lot of linebackers that didn't participate in practice. So we feel like we have injuries. Their list is probably double of ours. So I'm always confident against when we play against Chicago Bears, just because statistics and analytics, they're not usually favored to win. So I'm always comfortable when we play against them, and so I'm not afraid of this team right now for sure.
They lost.
I think our offense.
Raiders.
I think our offense just needs to run them over, for sure.
You would think. I respect the Bears defense. Their cornerbacks still suck. Like, their secondary is no good. But I'm nervous about their defensive line and their front seven. If you thought Trey Hendrickson was causing a problem, I have bad news. because Robert Quinn and Khalil Mack are good football players, much better than Trey Hendrickson. So Elton Jenkins coming back is a big deal. It's a really big deal, and I also think Elton Jenkins isn't going to be able to block Robert Quinn one-on-one either. So I think we still need to put people on that side. Like I'm not like I think 4.5 points. I think the Packers can cover that, but I don't think this is a blowout, man. I think the Bears are a very good football team, and nobody wants to respect them. I think they're very good, and I think Bill Lazor's super smart. I think Mike Penton knows a lot about LaFleur. Like I think there's a lot of little factors in this game that add up, and I don't think the Packers are at risk of losing. But if we, special teams, man, like special teams changes games, and I think it's a play one way or the other again.
Yeah, this is just going to be like a regular Bear game. They're going to play super physical against us because the Bears suck. They got nothing to lose. Might as well beat up on the number one team in the division. Packers will, blow it open come second quarter or whenever that interception comes from the Bears. Bears will make a small comeback, and then their quarterback will throw another interception late in the fourth quarter. I don't know about you guys, but that's how it feels. Almost like half the Bear games have gone my whole life. And the other half, they're on Sunday night, and the Packers win 42-0. But
True.
I'm gonna disagree with everybody. I think I respect the Bears. I don't think this is close, and I'm not saying that because the Bears are bad. I think if the Packers attack them like San Francisco, it's over after they score on the first drive. Not literally, but hypothetically. I think if I'm the Packers, I want the ball first. Maybe if you're really that confident, you can score. Because if you score, I don't see Fields even leaving them back from 7 points against Aaron Rodgers. I think if they dink and dunk down the field, utilize Adams in space, this offense is not going to be able to do anything. This defense is going to be on the field a long time. They're going to get drained. I feel dirty for saying this. I'm going to say 31-14 Packers. I really do. I don't know why, because Bears games are usually close. But if they drain this defense on the field, no matter how good you are, you get tired, it's over.
Matt LaFleur panics every time they can't run the football, though. And Penton's seen that up close and personal. Like, they're going to load against the run, and I don't know. Like, I'm just assuming the Packers are going to be trailing and they have to come back. That's what it seems like every time the Packers play anybody that people are disrespecting. Should the Packers blow them out? Absolutely. I think the Bears are coached too well to do that. And that sounds funny, I'm sure, because Matt Nagy sucks, but the coordinators are very good. The position coaches are very good. And I'm not positive Matt Nagy's microphone's even turned on during the game. Like I tweeted out, he's the little brother you give a disconnected controller to while you play Madden. He's just there having fun. He thinks he's making an impact, and he's not. But Bill Lazor is one of the best play callers in the entire NFL. Their defensive coordinator is a first-year guy, but it's pretty much Mike Penton going to be doing everything. And Penton's legit. Their front seven's legit. Packers' offensive line sucks. I guess if I have to give a score prediction, I would probably go something like 24. I'll go 27-20. I think it's going to be close-ish for most of it, but I think the Packers can cover. Luke, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, I think this is just gonna be a classic Bear game. It's gonna be physical. It's an NFC North matchup, Soldier Field. But I agree with Trevor. I don't think Justin Fields in the offense can keep up with Aaron Rodgers in the offense. So I'll add a little bit more points than yours, Zach. I'll say something like 35-13.
What's your guys' thoughts on, like, what gives you confidence that the offense is going to be any good?
The players. I mean, they haven't used them, but it's all going to come together sometime. And why not it be against Chicago?
I would say Devontae 8 and this past week, and Devontae, I don't pay attention to his pressers a lot, more to Aaron Rodgers in recent history. He doesn't seem like the guy that's often going to talk about, let's be more aggressive, get me the frickin' ball. Like, that situation kind of reeks to me kind of like LaFleur talking to Joe Barry about getting, pressure. Like, I'm not saying he was yelling at LaFleur, but I just feel like for Rodgers and for Adams, I mean, this is just personal. They want to absolutely destroy, and they want to show, especially for Adams, I'm the best receiver in the league. Pay me.
I have an unpopular opinion. I think if they go into the game and Rodgers continues to force the ball to Devontae, I think they lose. I don't think Devontae can beat the Bears. I think it needs to be Randall Cobb. It needs to be Alan Lazard. It needs to be Robert Tonyan. It needs to be the running backs. Like, the Bears are going to jump routes. Like, they're going to be hyper aggressive on every single route. And they know the ball's going to Devontae every time, like the Bengals did for a lot of it. And the Bengals played him well. Like, there's just a couple weird plays. Like, I don't think Aaron Rodgers is playing very good football, and I don't think Matt LaFleur is calling very good football. So it makes me a little bit nervous. To your point, both your points, the stars could align, they should align, and if they do align, it's going to be a blowout. I just don't have that confidence yet.
I was also going to say I'm so confident in the offense because I guaranteed Randall Cobb 2 touchdowns on Fantasy Football Show.
Which you probably will get.
Janet, what says you?
I have to agree with drum roll. I'm just kidding. Move with Luke. I have a lot of confidence in this offense. Like, I feel like they're gonna run him over. I don't know why. Like, I just feel whenever we play the Bears, like some sort of spark lights up underneath them, and they end up scoring all these points. So I feel like it's gonna be like 30-17 Packers. I don't know why. I just want to give all these points. And then just looking at their injuries, I feel like we have the upper hand right now.
This makes me scared. And I kind of want to change my prediction because if something happens and God forbid the Packers lose, Zach being the only one close to it is going to possibly be insufferable. I really don't want that to happen.
I'm right so often, I'm just sort of numb to it at this point, Trevor. So I think it's going to be okay.
You know, I was going to compliment you on your score prediction yesterday for the last game too, but now I'm not. Because
I don't even know what I predicted. I don't even know what it was.
27-20, which seeing it was 25-22. Pretty spot on.
Yeah. I wanted to look at the past few games. And last year, I mean, it's tough because there's no crowds or anything like that, and the Packers offense is rolling. Last year, obviously, the Packers stomped them both times. Year before, crowds are now a factor. Packers win 21-13. Packers win 10-3. Year before, Packers lose 24-17. Packers win 24-23. I don't know. But, like, last year, it was 41-25, 35-16. So they were blowouts. But Rodgers had to complete 79% of his passes, and 72% of his passes, he threw 8 touchdowns, no interceptions. So if Rodgers can have a perfect game again, then that kind of stuff can happen. I don't know. I think I'm giving them too much credit, though. So I hope you guys are right.
I just saw an article, and we need to talk. I just want to say it because it's funny. Joe Burrow, with his throat injury, is on voice rest. So I found that very funny.
What's going on, man? That dude needs to just take a year off.
I tweeted out.
Voice rest.
He's going to be the biggest what if in NFL history.
That's fair.
He's just another Andrew Luck, man. Like, I get it, but recommend your team drafts a lineman this year. Try that.
Instead of your best friend.
Don't feel bad for him at all. Like, you did this to yourself. Live with your own consequences. People see him get hurt. They're like, oh, poor Joe. Nah, screw you. I don't hope you get hurt, but if you get hurt, I'm not going to feel bad for you.
If he starts laying down and taking sacks, then all of a sudden people will be like, oh, the offensive line's bad, and then they'll get offensive line help. Just do that.
I think there's one game where he got how many sacks? Like 9, and he got 9 in one game. Somebody said that's how many Aaron Rodgers got last year or something like that. It's crazy. He got him in one game.
Do you
Poor guy.
do you think that Joe Burrow got a throat contusion from TJ Slayton like trying to grab his lungs out of his mouth so he can breathe?
I bet he did. I think that's probably what happened. Jeez. Anything else you guys want to talk about before we get out of here?
I think you got to contain Justin Fields. You know, he plays well throwing on the run. Can't imagine he's going to be very confident. You know, rookie quarterbacks don't seem to be confident with the pocket. They always want to go out and make a play. So, yeah, I mean, I think you contain Justin Fields. You let coverage set up. I think it'll be a lot better off than Justin Fields making plays with his legs.
I hate myself for saying this. I think this is a game where it's better to have. I can't even bring myself to say it overall. It's better to have the tenacity of Joe Barry than Mike Pettin. It's a rivalry game. You're playing guys you hate. Joe Barry, you know he's going to bring energy, probably nothing else, but it's big to have that energy. I would assume the defense is going to feed off that with the rivalry with the crowd. I mean, that should help them more than they've had in past years with Pettin just looking like Zach right now, the whole game. So
I like Mike Penn. I think he's a top 3 defensive coordinator in the league. So
I don't like
yeah,
Mike
I think
Pettin.
they're fine.
He's the reason Johnny
Most people
Manziel's
don't.
out of the NFL. He was going to cut him in Cleveland.
Okay. I think this needs to be a Rashawn Gary game. Bears offensive line's terrible. They need to get Justin Fields off rhythm. As long as he's off rhythm, you don't need to get sacks. Just get him off rhythm. He's going to make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
And if Rashawn Gary is good at football, then he needs to show up and start doing something. He is the project, and everyone's saying how good he is, and he finished last year so strong. That's fantastic. He should start doing something then. Because right now, Preston Smith is by far the best pass rusher. Preston Smith is looking really good, and I really like him. But Rashawn Gary got shut down by the Bengals tackle last week. And to me, that's not excusable, and it's just effort. Because Janet can get a couple sacks on the Bengals, I'm pretty sure. That's how bad they are. And Rashawn Gary got one pressure, and I think it was the play where he was held, so it didn't even matter. So, yeah.
that's offensive to Janet. She could get at least 5 against him.
Fair.
I'll be out here putting Joe Burrow on throat rest.
Let's end on that. So this was Lombardi Sweep. We'll be back next week celebrating a win, hopefully, later.
Peace.